Okay, so now we are back on the technical charts. So let us start off with the US dollar index. Again, we are looking at the H1 charts, and this is what we call the US dollar index. This index shows us whether number one, whether the US dollar was weakening, okay, or whether the US dollar was strengthening. So when we move on to the H4 charts, we can see that the US dollar has been moving down, has been bearish ever since the 18th of May from a high of about 100.50 reading. It has dropped to the current levels of 97.85. Okay, so even on the daily charts, it will show us that the US dollar has broken through its previous support levels of 98.79. So currently it is still bearish. Possibly it can be a little bit more bearish all the way until 97.50 levels before it finds some room for recovery. Okay, so moving on to the 1 hour charts for yesterday. Again, when you draw a trend line down all the way from a few days ago to currently, we can see nicely that the US dollar is still on a bearish trend. Okay, so it is trying to find some consolidation and some support, but high chances are maybe it can still go down a little bit further before having some retracements or recovery. Okay, so for yesterday, throughout the Asian trading session, the US dollar was weak all the way until the afternoon session, and it did have a recovery at about 1100. This is during the UK trading session. 1100 plus 5 hours is 16. At about 4 p.m., the US dollar strengthened, and towards the evening, at about, this is the candle, 1600 plus 5 is 21, which is 9 p.m. The US dollar weakened back again, okay, and ended on a weak note. So strengthened at about 4 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time, and weakened at about 9 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysian time. So, but again, the sentiment has been bearish for a while, and throughout the morning session and evening session, the US dollar was also bearish. Okay, so when we look at other major currencies trading against the US dollar, such as the UK pound, number one, we can see that the UK pound has been on a bullish trend ever since the 27th of May. Over here, 27th of May, from a low of 1. Okay, when I put my cursor here, you can see that on the right hand side, 1.2209. It has moved up all the way to 1.2524 levels. Okay, so over the last 1, 2, 3 days, 3.5 days, it has gone up about 310 pips. Okay, so as we can see again, the US dollar being bearish and having a very weak sentiment over the last 3 market days. The UK pound has also been bearish and has been bullish and moving up for over 3 days and moving up about 300 pips. So for yesterday, to be more detailed and analyzing the microcycles, the morning session or the Asian trading session, the US dollar again was weak, going down, and we can see the UK pound as early as 6 in the morning Singapore time. But if you miss this, if you are still asleep, you can actually catch it over here also. This one was at about 300 hours plus 5 is 8 a.m. in the morning. The UK pound strengthens from 1.2343 all the way to a high of 1.2411. Okay, so it was pretty strong move for the UK pound, especially in the Asian trading session. So it went up about 67 pips, almost 70 pips in the morning session or in the Asian trading session. Then it went sideways for a while, consolidated, and towards the afternoon UK session during this time at about 10 plus 5, it is 15, which is 3 p.m. The UK pound moved up again about 41 pips. However, it didn't have the extra energy to go up yet. It came back down about 40 pips, was finding support at these levels, and of course consolidating also. And towards the evening at about 1400 plus 5 is 1900 hours, which is 7 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time, the UK pound finally started to move up again. Okay, So at 7 p.m. it started to move up from 1.2383 levels all the way for the next 3 hours to a high of 1.2486 levels. Okay, and towards the early morning or the end of the market trading session for yesterday, it touched a high of 1.2506. Okay, so from the morning session it went up about 67 pips, and from the afternoon or evening session it went up another 109 pips. Okay, so altogether from the Asian trading session until the US market trading session, the UK pound went up a total of 162 pips. Okay, so again, it's a very nice bullish run, especially considering that the last 2 days is also indicating that the market is bullish. Okay, so looking at the euro dollar is showing pretty much a bullish trend also. Okay, ever since the early over here. Okay, ever since on the 25th of May, it has found very nice support and consolidation, and has been moving up all the way. So let's take it from here. So it has gone up from 1.0888 all the way to the recent high of 1.1151. Okay, so this was a 262 pips move up over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Okay, so the the euro dollar was mostly bullish again towards the morning and afternoon sessions, and towards about time is 1100 plus 5 is 16. Again at 4 p.m. the euro dollar weakened back, came down about 46 pips. Okay, so again this was also roughly the time that the US dollar strengthened back. Okay, so it's about understanding the correlation and also understanding the chart patterns, okay, of each financial instrument. So that is how we can have an idea of how far or which direction the prices are going. Okay, so for gold prices also has been bullish ever since last Wednesday, when it touched a low of 1,693.71 cents. After that, towards last Wednesday early morning, it started to rebound back. Okay, and ever since then it has been on a strong rebound bullish move. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and yesterday was having some resistance at 1,743. It came back down in the afternoon session. This is the one. 900 hours plus 5 is 14. So with 2 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time, gold prices came back down from 1,743 all the way to a low of 1,727. Okay, so it came down about $15, and only towards 1700 plus 5 is 22. 10 p.m. yesterday, the gold prices started to recover. Okay, touching a high of about 1,741 before going quiet, and as of this morning it is still relatively quiet, pushing down a bit, currently down about $4.30, but there is still a tendency for it to be bullish. Okay, so the major moves for gold prices has happened, so we need to wait for it to take a rest, have some consolidation, and then towards again the afternoon session, the markets will decide whether gold prices will be going up a little bit more or testing this resistance again or pushing down. Okay, so currently on the high side, the resistance will be at 1743, and towards the lower end will be a support of this level. Okay, 1,731. So looking at gold prices on the H4, you can see that it's again very nicely going up, and looking to test the 1,743 resistance. Okay, moving on to oil prices. Oil prices has been relatively still bullish. Okay, so previously it was trading in the range. Okay, and then it broke through the $34.50 range, and it moved on to a high of Okay, this was the high at about $35.99, the tip here. However, as you can see, before the end of the time period, it actually pushed back down, and the body of the candle is within the price of about $35.70. Okay, so yesterday oil prices actually moved down, was quiet for most of the day, and just moved down at about this is the 1500 plus 5 20 hours. Okay, so oil prices moved down at about 8 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time, from $35.61 to a low of $34.41. So it just went down about $1.20, and then 2 hours later it recovered back about $1.29. Okay, so currently oil prices has gone sideways. Again, looks like it's testing this resistance at 35.75, and again, depending on what happens towards the UK market session and also the US trading session tonight, it will decide whether oil prices will be consolidating or going up or down. Okay, S&P 500, as you can see, is also testing this resistance at 3,059 points, and it's also moving nicely along this bullish trend line. So it should be squeezing into this triangle very soon, and it will either choose to break up or break down. Okay, so yeah, Canadian dollar. Yesterday you can see the US dollar being very weak also, and due to the fact that oil prices are still pretty bullish. Okay, pretty bullish, and you can see the Canadian dollar strengthening against the US dollar. Okay, so you see a sharp strengthening of the Canadian dollar due to two major factors. Number one, the US dollar is weakening against the Canadian dollar, and number two, oil prices are strengthening. So it's a correlation. Usually when oil prices strengthen, the Canadian dollar will also strengthen. Okay, by the way, for those who are a bit confused, you see the charts going down, because this is a currency pair where the USD is the first pair and CAD is the second pair. So the first pair, the value is 1. So when this one was at a high over here, let's say at 1.3820, okay, it means that 1 USD could be exchanged for 1.3820 Canadian dollar. Okay, when the prices has gone down to the current low, only at 1.3550, it means that 1 US dollar can now only get for you 1.3550 Canadian dollar. Okay, so from previously 1 US dollar can get for you or exchange for you 1.38 Canadian dollars. Currently at this price, at a lower price, 1 US dollar can only get for you 1.35 Canadian dollar. Okay, so the similar 1 US dollar currently is getting you very much less Canadian dollar. That means the Canadian dollar has strengthened and the US dollar has weakened. Okay, so that's why you see it going down. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean the Canadian dollar is weakening when you see this chart going down. Okay, so it's a double-edged we can say it's a double factor, the US dollar being weak and also the oil prices being strong. The Canadian USD CAD dropped about 175 pips. Okay, so yeah, so it's pretty fun to trade all these currencies, commodities, and also understand the correlations and forecast the direction. Okay, so so keep in mind, although there's no US data coming up tonight, the US markets will still be open and operating, so we still expect some movements towards 7 to 9 p.m. in the evening. Okay, so I hope you guys have a good update and understanding of the news and also the technical analysis, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.